Aaron Freeman of Locked On Falcons, Patricia Traina of Locked On Giants here for Crossover Thursday presented by Prize Picks. Download the app and use code Locked On NFL, and you'll win $50 instantly when you play $5. So, Patricia, let's wrap up today's Crossover Thursday talking about keys to victory. 3 for the Giants, 3 for the Falcons. I'll give you the floor, as I am such a gracious host, to talk about the Giants' keys to victory.
Well, the good news for the Giants is I don't think they have to worry about any planes flying overhead because the Falcons play in the dome. So that's good news for the Giants. Not that they admit that that's a distraction, but keys to the game. Obviously, you have a rookie quarterback in Michael Penix, and, as good as he might be, rookies can be rattled. So you want to get after him. You want to maybe confuse him, I don't know, again, what the Falcons have done to prepare him with the show team and whatnot, but if you can do some disguising of your defenses and get him off his game a little bit, make him think he's seeing one thing and maybe he's seeing the other, and maybe he can force some mistakes. So that would be certainly key number 1. Key number 2, obviously, stop the run. I don't know how they're going to do it. They've got a makeshift defensive line. The outside linebackers, like I said, Brian Burns is banged up. Kayvon Thibodeau has been, hit and miss against the run, but you got to slow down Bijan Robinson, especially up the middle. Now last week the Giants kind of did a decent enough job on Derrick Henry, but there were some chunk plays that they gave up. Lamar Jackson got some chunk plays. So you've got to keep those under wraps. And Penix is a guy who can run the ball as well. So you want to make sure that that you're covering that as well. And then I think the other key is just simply for the Giants, stop shooting yourself in the foot. They have had penalties, drop passes, bad throws. The Giants are just not good enough to overcome the mistakes they have made. In every game, there is a catalog of mistakes that I've come up with that if this had been different or that had been different. Now, I'm not expecting perfection, but there's no reason to have illegal shifts or illegal formations. What are you guys doing in practice if you're not, working on all this stuff? You should get all that out of your system, and it's still going on this late in the season. And look, if the Giants are going to keep making mistakes, they're going to shoot themselves in the foot, and they're not going to give themselves a good chance to win.
Yeah, the Falcons have been dealing with some of those issues as well during their 4-game losing streak, some of the lack of discipline. We'll see which of these two teams is the more disciplined. That'll probably help them out. But when I look at the Falcons and sort of their 3 keys, it does start with sort of the offensive line in the trenches. And, without Dexter Lawrence, the Falcons have been a little soft up the middle on their offensive line. So I think that helps. But they got to make sure Brian Burns does not take over the game like he has done so many times in their past matchups against Carolina. We'll see what Kayvon Thibodeau does. This is their first time really seeing him. So he also may have some advantageous situations. Obviously, the issue with having that left-handed quarterback is now your blind side is flipped, and Caleb McGarry is not the world's best pass protector. He's really good at running the football or run blocking when it comes to running the football. So I think the Falcons will do their best to sort of chip on that side, but that takes, potentially a tight end out of the offense, like Kyle Pitts. So we'll see how they handle that. I think on the flip side, the second key, I think, is the Falcons need to get pressure. They've done a good job these last 3 weeks. If Drew Lock plays this game, Drew Lock tends to be very volatile. He will put the ball in harm's way. So I think if they can get pressure on Drew Lock, they will be able to create the turnovers that they need to give their young rookie quarterback more opportunities to put points on the board. And that's the third key. You got to put those points on the board, especially when you get to the red zone. The Falcons have basically, I think, been the second worst red zone team during this 5-game slump that they've been on. And so that is one of the areas that you hope to see Michael Penix improve upon. But we know that historically speaking, rookies don't typically operate well in the red zone, at least immediately in the NFL. So that will be a big test for Michael Penix in his Falcons offense. But if Penix can give them just a little shot in the arm, a little adrenaline in the arm when it comes to the red zone, that I think will go a long way to helping this Falcon team walk away with a victory.
Yeah, and you guys also have a new kicker, from what I understand, in addition to all that, although that's probably the least of your concerns. But, look, a lot on the line. The Falcons in second place, I believe, right now in the the NFC South. Yes. So you can still make a run. You're not out of the playoffs. The Giants out of the playoffs, but it is what it is. It's just not the Giants' year this year. The 100th anniversary of the New York Giants has just been a year to forget.
Yeah, so we'll see if the Giants can change the narrative with I don't want to say surprise win, but certainly not a win that many people expect them to win. So we'll see how competitive these two teams are.